in this video, I'm going to go through 10 different questions which were asked in my most watched video on this channel, which is the creation of express entry profile. So if you are creating your express entry profile, maybe answers of these questions might help you avoid some mistakes. So without any further ado, let's get started. The first interesting comment is, hey, I'm married, but my spouse does not have IELTS. Is it a must that she must write IELTS language test? Yes, of course, writing IELTS will definitely help your overall profile. You might get more points, but no, it's not necessary. It is completely optional for your spouse to write the language test. And if you believe that it's an additional pressure, you don't want to take that hassle, you can totally avoid the language test. It might give you a few less points. I believe there are somewhere around like 20 points or so which you can get with the spouse's language test results, and that is only if they score the highest points, right? So it might be possible that you might be missing out on 5 or 10 points, totally your call. But to answer your question, it is completely optional and you can totally avoid it if you don't want to do that. Let's read the next comment. Thank you very much for the important information and what things will gonna be the next after you have finished to create the express entry profile. Thank you for your effort to educate us and God bless you. So once you create your express entry profile, you are essentially entered into a virtual draw of permanent residency. If you notice, you will get a score at the end of creating your profile. That's called comprehensive ranking score, and it's a deciding factor for your position technically in the pool. Okay, every now and then, as you know, IRCC takes a look at the pool and invites candidates with the higher scores as per various criteria. Now, you might have heard that there is a general which is for everyone. There are healthcare draws which is very specific to healthcare, trades, and so on. So yes, everything begins after you create your express entry profile in the world of express entry, and it is more like first step towards your immigration journey. By the way, if you haven't created your profile yet, go check my channel for the latest video. I have spent many hours making it to help you create the profile in one go. Now let's take a look at the next question. Thank you for your video. Can you explain a couple of things? As far as I understand, in the section of education and work history, we provide only information that we can prove through the documents which are recognized by Canada. Let's say I have both a bachelor's and master's degree. I verified my master's diploma through WES but did not do anything for my bachelor's diploma. Does it mean that I don't have to include my bachelor's education history in the application? Also, if I'm currently working, do I have to choose yes in the section, do you have a valid job offer in Canada? So as you can see, there are two questions here. The first one is related to the education, work history, and the second one is related to the job offer. So we'll tackle one by one, okay? So we'll go with the education first. You are right, you should only put information in the education and work history section which you would want to claim the points for. That's why I say that which you can prove, because if you are entering the information in either education and work history section, you are bound to getting points for it, and at the end when you will get an ITA, you will have to show the documents to prove that information. So for any reason, if you cannot show the proof or if you think that it's not eligible, please don't enter it there. But specifically to answer your question related to the bachelor's degree, you can enter your bachelor's degree in the education history, okay, if it's less than 10 years old. But in the WES section, you can always say no. That way you will not get points for that bachelor's, okay? So you do not have to worry about creating the WES for it, but you can just say that you do not have a WES issued for it, and it will only give you points for masters. Anyways, masters is the highest education, so you are going to get points for it anyways. So if you don't have WES, do not include, just say no that you don't have WES for it. You won't get points. There is no misrepresentation here. Now the second question. So for people who want to read much more in depth about the job offer, I have put the link in the description, so please check that out. It's a canada.ca website, so everything is mentioned by IRCC. But to give you an answer in short, only the LMIA based jobs and LMIA exempted jobs are counted in the valid job offer section, because it essentially gives you points. If you have heard that government is trying to temporarily block that 50 additional points given in the LMIA, that is literally this section. So if you have an open work permit and currently working in Canada, that does not count towards the valid job offer in Canada, okay? And please do select the option accordingly. So for your case, it totally depends on what kind of job offer you have. Now let's take a look at the next question. Hi Raj, thanks a lot for sharing the video. Can I ask, is it better to select all province than choosing one? I'm currently working in Alberta under open work permit. Thank you. Okay, yes, the short answer, yes. and this is what I say to everyone, is that your application, your express entry profile will essentially go into the database of all the provinces. So whenever they are releasing the express entry related streams for PNP draws for their province, they'll be able to see your application in their database. So if they are selecting bunch of candidates with particular NOC codes or general draws, and if your score is within that range, you might be getting notification of interest from that province for PNP application. And let me help you understand why it's not bad. Giving a notification of interest to a candidate or receiving as a candidate from a province does not really mean that you will have to go to that province, settle down always, and there is no other way to get your permanent residency. It's just an option to you. They are offering you a chance that, hey, come to our province. If you haven't got the ITA yet, we will follow through your PNP application. If you get the PNP, you get additional 600 points, and then you can apply for your express entry PR application. But yes, of course, if you go through that province, you will have to go and settle in that province. Now this gives you a choice. Now you see that there is a lot of competition in the express entry pool these days, so you don't even know. Let's say if you're staying in Ontario, but you're like, okay, my work permit is expiring, I might have to go home, rather I would go to Nova Scotia, right? So if Nova Scotia may be able to invite you depending on your profile, but if you have not selected all the provinces or Nova Scotia in this example, they will never be able to see your profile and they will never be able to issue a notification of interest to you. I always suggest to have the option in hand, and then you can make a choice whether you want to accept or reject it. It's not going to harm your application in any ways, so just select all the province if possible. And for people who are applying from outside Canada, I would 100% suggest you to go with all provinces. That way you will have maximum chance of getting your permanent residency in Canada. And one other thing I wanted to cover in this section is that once you receive a notification of interest from a particular province and you do not follow through, meaning you do not do the PNP draw, okay, within that 45 days limit of time frame, and later you think that, oh, I'll just wait for another draw for the same province and I might get an NOI, and surprise, you do not get another notification of interest from that province. Why? Because once they select a candidate, they remove them from the database. Okay, so if you do not follow through on the first go, you'll never be called by the province on the same profile. Now, how to fix that? If you are really interested in that province and really made a mistake of not following through the first time, you can withdraw your current profile and recreate, so it will get a new express entry profile number, and that profile will again go into the province's database and you will have the chances once again. Now, if you are enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate if you could like the video. It will only take you a second to do that, but helps me a lot. Let's go to the next question. Hi Raj, your video was so helpful. I'm waiting for the West to provide me with the results of my certificate, which is for the secondary applicant. Can't I submit the profile before that? Another question, after submitting the profile, if I got a new IELTS score, can I still update? So this question is all about updating the profile once you create it. So for the secondary applicant, which might be the spousal applicant, you can totally go with saying no, they don't have VES, and you will get a little bit of less point during your initial profile creation. Once your profile is created, you can always go back into your application and update it with the VES information. The same thing goes with IELTS as well. Once you submit and if you have a new IELTS score, just go back to your profile in the study and language section and update your IELTS score there. But if you are creating the profile for the first time and you do not have the IELTS score, unfortunately you will not be able to go through. It might just turn out to be ineligible. Let's check the next question. I created an account a year before and might have submitted a preliminary application, but I don't think I ever paid for anything. Should I still answer yes? So this is about an express entry profile which was already created, pretty much expired or withdrawn for whatever reason. And when the next time you create the profile, there is this question asked, have you created the express entry profile before? Now, to remove the confusion, I always tell people that you do not need to provide the information about your older profile which did not go through. If you did not get an ITA, no PNPs were done on it, really that profile is literally going into the garbage. Like no one's looking at it. There is no human ever touched that part. Really, it does not matter to use that profile number. But let's say if you use that profile for full 1 year, there were a couple of PNP draws issued on it, but you never followed through, so on and so forth. Or even if there was an ITA issued, but something happened and it was rejected, withdrawn, whatever reason, you might want to use that express entry number so that you have a history sorted out, but not when you are just creating the profile, somehow it became ineligible because of other reason. The other place where you would want to use this express entry profile number in that particular question is when, let's say, your language test score expired that made your express entry profile ineligible. Then you would want to use that to show that this is the reason you created a new profile and so on. But it's more clerical than anything for specific purpose. All right. Now the next question is, hi, this video is really helpful, but I have one question. Am I supposed to add my high school education in the education history? Short answer, no, really. You do not need to add your high school education in the education history. If you do not have any other education, then definitely you can add, but at that point of time, I'm not even sure whether you are eligible for the express entry or not. But for most people out there who are creating the express entry profile, no, you do not need to add the high school education, because you will have to go through WES if it's an outside Canada high school education, and WES do not always evaluate high school education. Okay, so it's hard and it's mostly useless, so don't do it if you don't need it. 8th question, thanks for the detailed video, very helpful. I have a doubt about question about the job offer. If I'm on a PGWP working for a company for 1 year now, that does not come under the job offer, right? I give no for a job offer even though it's full-time, non-seasonal, etc. Instead, I just need to add it to my work history. Exactly right. Job offer, as I previously explained, is more related to the LMI exempted job offers or LMIA job offers, which gives you additional points, because that section particularly is designed technically to give you additional points for the job offer. So if it's just a PGWP open work permit, even if it's a full-time, non-seasonal, whatever it is, it goes into your work history because it's an experience which you are using, not the job offer. Job offer related points you get even if, let's say, you are not in Canada. Sometimes you get the job offer, LMI is issued, work permit is not issued yet, you can still use that job offer to gain additional 50 points. Okay, but in this section, when you're doing the job, there are no specific labor market impact assessment done on it. It really just goes into the work history section. So I hope this is clear. The next question is, hello, first thank you for explaining in such simple manner. However, even after referring your video, I was creating the profile, everything went well except for one thing, which is my 2-year diploma course for Canada, and I'm not able to claim points for that. Could you please help me with that? I don't know what I'm missing. Thank you once again. Okay, so education section, once again, this is one of the common thing which people make mistakes, and I believe this is something I'm guessing right now might be wrong with your profile, but I'm totally not sure, so we'll see if it helps. There is this question about English and French as a second language for the instruction of your studies. This question more feels like rhetorical. Generally, the answer to the question when these kind of questions are asked is yes. So you tend to select yes without further looking or reading the question. The answer for that question should be no. If you select yes, you do not get points for that education. Second thing is, if the education is in Canada, if you do not have the right DLI number, then also you do not get points for it. There are a couple of other questions in which if you get a scholarship which requires you to go back to the home country, you do not get points. If your 50% or more of your education was not completed in classroom, then you do not get points for it. There is of course an exception for people who studied during the COVID time frame, but that has been resolved since then. So anyone new trying to do this, minimum 50% of that studies and minimum 8 months of that studies, whether it was an 8-month course or a 16-month course and so on, should be done full time. If it's not done full time, then again you do not get points for it. So try all these questions and options and see if it helps you out. Now the next question is, I fill up the application totally, but the website does not show my score and says I'm not eligible for any program. Could you please tell me why I cannot see my score? Now a lot of people in the world who are applying might be seeing this. Okay, that your application is ineligible despite you provided all the details, language scores, your education, even if it's a master's degree, and then you have work experience as well. But there are points calculation. Okay, if everything is in Canada, most probably you will get through and you will get the scores. But for people who are outside Canada, there is a separate 67 point scoring system. If you do not score 67 points in that system, even if you have all the other information, you are still ineligible, because that is for the federal skilled worker program. As an applicant in the express entry pool, you are either eligible for CEC, which is Canadian Experience Class, FSW, which is the federal skilled worker, and FST, which is the federal skilled trade programs. So you have to meet the criteria of at least one of that stream in order to be eligible for the express entry program. For any reason you are not eligible for it, you will not be able to see your score. Your profile will not allow you to edit again. It is gone. You will have to go back, recreate the profile from scratch. There is nothing wrong in doing that, but you will have to do it that way. And if you're still confused and if you want more information about what's missing and how do I create this profile the right way, feel free to reach out and I will try my best to clear the technical error or can probably provide you with the reasoning on why it is not eligible at that point of time. So that's everything for today. If you're enjoying these kind of videos, please let me know in the comments so I can make more of these. And yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.